Okay, so today for this demo, I'm going to do a sculpting demo. So as we're working on, our kinetic sculptures, like you guys had a glimpse of this before, but you're working on your sculptures, and this is going to be more about how to get your sculptures looking as good as possible, and a little anatomy type of sculpting. So like I said before, if you have a question about what, your thing should look like, if you're doing a body part or something, just, you have a body. This is your model right here, the one that you were born with. So, you're working on your hinges and you're making all of your, decisions about what kind of joints to put on these. But, there's a lot of questions about, oh, I'm not sure what my sculpture should look like, and I don't, So this is an example of what you can do with your project, okay? So you can have a very heavily sculpted piece that's attached. You just have to be able to make it in parts and figure out how those parts go together. So, we only have an hour for this demo, but we should get through. At least you'll see some hollow sculpting. It's like half hollow, or mostly hollow, and then some solid. I feel like it's easier to put a couple of solid attachments rather than, like I said, I don't really like sculpting solid. I like hollow sculpting, so that's what we're gonna do. So this is the example. 2 hinges on this, and then the 3 sculpted parts. So this is thigh, shin and knee, and the foot. So I'm gonna work on the foot today. I'll put this back. Do you want to close that? No? It's fine? Are you sure? Okay. Okay, so sometimes it's difficult to know where to start. So just start wherever you want. Or you have to think about, do I want to make my attachments first? Do I want to make the full thing first and then see where it goes from there? So I guess I'm going to make a toe first. And then we have all of our prep set up and ready to go, which makes things a lot easier. And this is one thing about if you're making your attachments first, then you kind of have to make them the right size, or you can do what I do and just force it anyway, which I kind of like that because then it makes it look a little different. It's like, oh, it's a little too big, but like I told you, I like exaggeration. So sometimes if I make a toe too big, like it doesn't bother me. Like I like the way that looks. And there's someplace, somewhere in the world, somebody has a toe like that. So this tore off a piece, and this is the part that I'm going to use for my toe. It might be a little big for the foot that I'm making, but it's okay. And this is the first toe, big toe. So, sculpting tools. Everybody has their sculpting tools, right? I mean, you might have a favorite one. I like to use a paring knife, and then a couple of dental tools. Kind of depends on just what you feel comfortable with, or what you can find, or what you can buy. And then some manicurist tools too. They're always good. Whatever, like, you know, finding tools are usually the best. But paring knife for me is, you can use it for basically everything. And then a lot of times I end up using it the wrong way. So I put a little mark where I want my toenail to go first, and then start carving in you know, my sculpting marks. And then sculpting like this, you have to keep it hot all the time. Every time you do a move, flash it afterwards. Sometimes it's not even flashing at a certain point for me. It's like it's bending itself. It's like really hot. So that's important. That's probably one of the most important things. So, one of the things that I really like about sculpting is it feels really good when you carve into the glass really hard. It's like, it releases endorphins. And I think, you know, when you do a carve mark and it looks really good, it feels really good too. So, anyway, I love sculpting. And I like sculpting, I mean, I've sculpted in, you know, lots of different mediums, but glass is maybe well, it's a toss-up. I like sculpting in clay a lot too. But glass is, I think it's because it's hot too. You can't touch it. There's like a different level of like satisfaction coming from sculpting in glass rather than sculpting in clay, for me. But they're both really awesome. So your carve marks, they make a big difference in how your sculpting is gonna look, okay? So the way you lay your carve marks down, it's like, you know, if you kind of like trail off the edge, then, you know, it kind of tapers your carve mark, okay? A lot of times people are just like carve, 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 but, you know, you gotta give like a little, I don't know, finesse it, you know? I feel like that's especially important when you are carving, you know, anatomy, I think. Because like nothing's like really straight. It's not really, you know, it's usually like asymmetrical. Like nobody's really perfectly symmetrical. So your carve marks don't have to look perfect, but I feel like they need to follow a certain curve or a certain line. Okay, so it looks like a toe, more or less, or a fat little baby finger. And there's a couple of different ways to do nails. This one is my favorite. This one's cold, this is hot. You can heat it up a little bit. Sometimes it'll crack, but sometimes it won't. I just jam this in like that, okay? But this has to be hot, hot. Like, not necessarily white hot, but it has to be moving. Okay, I've noticed a lot of us are not getting our glass hot enough in this class right now, and it doesn't move if it's not hot, all right? We gotta keep it nice and hot. And it's boro, so it's gotta be hot like all the time, just about. Either it has to be hot or don't put it in the flame at all. That's my method, that's how I do it. Okay, so now we take our fingernail and sculpt that in. And it feels like I'm really giving somebody a manicure here. Like, you know, when they dig really hard. All right. I like to exaggerate everything, and I like to make kind of almost most of my sculptures look like they walk through a mud puddle or we're digging a hole. So I put frit on everything. And then it looks like whoever's foot this is, or whoever, there's some kind of story behind it. They were walking somewhere, going somewhere, doing something, but they didn't actually get a pedicure. It's like the opposite. All right. And it kind of adds another layer of color and texture, because this color is Aurora, North Star color, and just like my go-to depth frit. And it also fumes the piece. So if you put on like a white toenail, it'll fume it darker, brownish, and I like that. So I want to bend this. And then sometimes it's difficult to bend your like finger or toe like right at the joint. But I feel like, you know, my work is kind of like an exaggerated, like almost realism type of thing. So I feel like if you make something, you know, if you're making hands, or, you know, it has to have some sort of action. So toes, curled toes to me are more interesting than not curled toes, or like they have to be doing something, or like stretching your toe out, or, you know, pointing your toe or stretching it somehow. It has to have some sort of action that's being relayed in the piece. So that's what I like to do. If I'm making legs or toes, or, you know, pointed or flexed or something, it has to be doing something. So if you put on eyes, like have them looking in one direction, you know, so it looks like it's not just like staring at you blankly like some sort of weirdo in the airport. Like, you know, it should be like looking around or doing something. But this doesn't have enough accent frit on it, so I'm gonna put more. I like it in all of the little lines. And under the nails and in the cuticle. Ow. So a lot of the frit will fly off and burn you too, so be careful of that. And then I'll go in and sculpt a little bit more. Just some tiny, tiny little marks. Because, you know, your skin is not, like, we can't put in every single, like, detail. That would take forever. So, some of them. Okay, that's good. We'll use this as a puntee. And this seems like it's gonna be kind of big, but that's okay. That one's long. Here we go. So rip all your clear off, your billow tube. And I put a little bit of frit on the end so that when I attach it, the colors kind of match up a little bit more seamlessly. There, toe. And then you put your, put it in the kiln, have it all ready for when you want to attach it. Now, this is the prep that I've made for the rest of the foot. That may not be. It looks like it's going to be pretty close. So, this is going to be the ankle, and this is the top of our foot. So I flatten this out. Now it's more like a foot shape. Remember, flash, keep everything hot. And then you have to decide, are you making a right foot or a left foot? And in the middle, forget which foot you decided to make, and then try to remember, okay? That's important. Because a lot of times, if I'm making 2 feet, I'm like, oh, I made a left last time. So then I'm like, then in the middle of it, it's like, no, I think you made a right one the other time. And then I have 2 left feet or 2 right feet, and then you have to keep on making more feet. So, or just use 2 left feet on that piece, which I have done before because there was no way I could do another one. So sometimes I still get my left and right mixed up also. But I'm gonna go with this side for. And this is hollow, okay? Right? Obviously I just blew into it. So this is a right foot, making the right. So this side here, where I'm kind of smashing down, is where our little toes will go. And this is where my big toe is going to go. Gravity. You can just heat it up and that part will start to move, okay? So what are the parts of your foot or hand? You have to think about sculpture in the round, okay? This is just going to be it's going to be a puppet, right? So all of you can see it from every angle. So we want to have as many, details and angles that look pretty as we can. Not necessarily look pretty, but you know what I mean. So the other thing is I would forget which foot it was and turn it on this side and then think, oh, this side looks pretty good, or there'd be some sort of detail that I liked about it, but this is a right foot. Okay, so this is the bottom, right? Yeah. Where's my tool? This one. And your foot has an arch. So we're talking about the parts of the foot. This is the arch right here. Any rounded rod type tool will do. And then we have our heel. Blow it out. So it's starting to look kind of like a foot, right? There was only 2 moves that we did. That was easy. And then flash it, keep it hot. So, and if you blow one section out and push one section in, you're going to help that blown out section look more blown out. Okay, now we have the ball of our foot here. So we're going to blow out one section over here. I didn't heat it up enough. Okay, part of helping for you to sculpt is breaking down all of the elements of the piece that you're making into easy steps. If you do that, or think of it in flat, circle, not sphere, just break it down to the small shapes that you're putting together. Foot is a triangle, okay? It's a triangle shape. And then there's little rectangles that come off of that triangle. And then here's a circle, here's a circle. The heel is a circle. Do you understand? Yes? Yeah. Okay. That makes everything easy. So, and it helps you to, I feel like it helps you to organize your thoughts. How many circles do I have to do? How many triangles do I have to make? How many rectangles do I have to make? It's easier to organize your thoughts and what you're doing. Okay, and then you can make a couple little marks here and there. See, it's getting very foot-like so far. I'm going to blow out my heel a little bit more. So, also, like I said, you can just use your body as a model, but for making things like feet, I like to look at dancers, ballerinas especially, because their arches and their feet and their legs and every posture in ballet is super exaggerated, okay? All the stuff that ballerinas do, their turnouts in their leg, you know, it's all exaggerated. They contort their bodies and it's like kind of unnatural, but they've made this unnatural thing look really beautiful, okay? So, you know, if we want to look at how the foot curves and arches, look at a dancer's foot, okay? That is the most exaggerated one. Or look at your own foot, these things. Well, you know what? I blow a glass out, my glasses on, okay? I know it's bad. And then sometimes I like to look at people, well, you guys don't have your, I can't see your eyes, but you should see mine, right? Sorry. I know, it's a bad habit. And I'm like, why is my eyesight so bad? It's because of that. So thanks for the reminder, Allie. Number 1, TA. All right, working on my arch right now. Okay, so it's like I want this arch to look good. Let's pretend that they're dancing here. Do a little pirouette and kind of push your glass the way you want it to go. It's like whenever I'm doing like a fabric type of glass, or, you know, I want it to bend in a certain way or in like maybe more random way, I just kind of give it a smash. I put some carve marks in and then, you know, hope for the best. And it works out. But I want it to look natural. So that's why I'll just heat it up and push it, and it'll kind of move in a natural way. Okay, so ankle. You should probably start like working faster, right? You think so? Okay. I'm talking too much. Okay, good? Okay, and tool marks. Tool marks are a pet peeve of mine. Okay, your carve marks shouldn't look like tool marks. They should look like part of the foot, okay? Not part of your sculpture. Not like, oh, I know exactly what tool they use for that. Like I have that one too. I don't like that. Like nobody should know that you were using a specific tool for a specific, unless that's what your work is about. But, you know, if you're trying to make something look real, we can't pick out the tool you use to make it, okay? See, after every couple of marks, heat it up. And so also, a lot of your sculpting is really just about confidence, okay? I don't know where every line is supposed to go. It's like, I'll put a line down and be like, oh, I like that. So just keep putting lines like that, okay? Just like what looks good to you is gonna look good to other people, okay? Most likely, somebody in the world will like it. But you don't need to know every single line where it has to go. You can improvise. You can put, you know, like I said, if you like it, it's good. And I think about really cracked feet when I'm making these because I like to exaggerate. And I think, you know, the more lines and carve marks you have, maybe the better. And then your feet, like unless it's a baby, an actual baby foot, it's probably going to have a few more lines on it. And then I'm going to blow out a little bunion or so right here. Little bunion. These dancers' feet tend to look a little worked, you know. A lot of pressure on them, dance shoes, you know, wearing heels, standing up all day. Feet can get worn out. So those are the things I think about when I'm sculpting. Like, what is this foot done in its life? Where did we find it? Whose foot is it? So I'm going to put in a lot of my carve marks now because when I put my toes on, it's just a bigger space to heat up and to keep hot. But we still have to keep this foot hot, you know, while we have our toes on. But I have to add glass here. So I don't want to put too much sculpting in this area, so I might burn it out. So we'll just do a little bit. Whew, it's hot. All right, I am going to add my smaller toes first. I can't do this. Trying not to, can you hold that? I'm afraid to like burn and cut myself at the same time. And I was traumatized from using this thing last time. There we go. So after you take too long to cut your rod, heat this back up. Give it a good heat. And then my small toes are obviously going to be solid. And then if you put too much glass on, you can cut some off. But it's easier to kind of put on a little bit too much than have to go back and go back, because I'm going to put frit over this too. Then you can use color rod also if you want. not that one. This one. These are 4 toes, okay? Imagine that they're 4 toes. Or imagine the shape of what your 4 toes are gonna look like, okay? And remember, we're gonna have like curled toes. So, and we're gonna have, this is just like a solid rectangle. So we have to scoop some of this inner rectangle out. Okay. Now they're like kind of the shape of toes, right? Don't forget to heat up your piece. Hot. I was getting tired of the noise. And then reapply your frit. You're gonna need that. How are we on time? 20 minutes left? Holy cow, I am slow. All right, well, I'll show you how to do toes. Well, I'm gonna put in some more sculpting. I'm gonna measure up my other toe. See that? It looks a little bit, but that's okay. I like it big. Cool. Some people have like really big toes. All right, so we have basically 1 toe right now, but we want to become 4 toes. So I'm going to divide this one 2, 3. I put marks there because sometimes I make, when I cut it, it's not the right shape or size. They're not right. So then I have to remelt it. In order to not have to do that extra step, mark it first. And then you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like too. So I want to see more what it looks like, if I'm doing it really right. It'll probably be okay. Heat up your piece first. Heat up this part first. You don't have to cut all the way through. I like to cut just the very top. And then we sculpt the rest. I might skip some of this sculpting because we can all go over this later. But to get to the joint part, if you work on a car a while, basically the whole thing is a marver. So I use the head of my torch as a marver all the time. Or a stabilizer, rod rest. It's good for a lot of stuff. Looks toes, like little toes from the bottom, right? So it's just like a couple of lines and it makes it look like toes. This one. Maybe have this one. I'm gonna bend them a little bit more. Okay, I'll do one toenail, one tiny toenail on this one, and then I'll get to the other part. Okay, we still need our toenail mark. Well, we don't need it, but I like it. What shape toenail? This one. Okay. Then you can just take your rod. Add a little dot of glass. Easy. I don't like that. There. That's pretty. Okay. Now, I'll put a little print on here. Normally you do all the toenails, all the sculpting on the toes, add your accent color or leave it. You don't have to do what I do. So I'm just gonna put some under here because I like the way it looks. Okay, sculpture's hollow. We're gonna attach our big toe. So what's next is we have to figure out how we're going to put these joints on, or these circles for our hinge joint. So normally I would have like the knee to the ankle made and then the foot made. And then I would figure out how I was going to attach the two later. But we'll use our model as our example, and I'll show you how, like, oh, our ankle to knee is already made. Okay, pretend. Ah, look how big it is. I like it. It's like a joke foot. Okay, now. This is not the first time I've made one of these type of pieces. You know, in cartoons, older cartoons, like when I was a kid, they have like somebody gets their toe smashed with a hammer and then it becomes like this big. That's kind of what I think of this. Well, in a way too, I also feel like, you know, we're glass blowers. You know, we're basically our own bosses. My life is pretty good. Like, you should be able to laugh at this. You don't have to take it all that's like, you know, take it seriously because this is your job, but you don't have to take it so seriously that, like, you know, like everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be like a certain way. Like, no, you can do whatever you want all the time. Like, you don't have to, there's no rules really, at least not pipe making. But you should seal, there is one rule, seal it on pretty good so it doesn't come off, it doesn't crack. It's like a finger toe. I saw something on Instagram and there was this lady that didn't have any arms and she had all these knitted things and she knitted them with her feet. So this would come in. Yeah, this is her, but maybe she probably has like regular feet, but you know, if I had to imagine. Or it's like E.T., only a foot. Oops, blew too hard. So remember I said I put the toes on last because this thing gets bigger and bigger and you have to keep the whole thing hot after a while. So we're almost to the part where we figure out how to make it move. I'm just gonna put a little I'll do a couple more carve marks on this toe just to show you how to integrate that into the rest of the body or foot. Where did my knife go? Story of my life. I can never see where I put my tool, which is why I take my glasses off. And then, where's my knife? Here it is. All right, normally I would have put maybe a little bit more fruit on this to have the colors match. But for the sake of time, but my favorite carve mark on this part is like making it that one right there. That's a good one. And then I would blow this part out a little bit. Looks pretty okay, right? It's funny. Okay. Bend it a little bit. All right, so how are we gonna, you have to take this part off, right? Because we're gonna hold it this way and put those things on it. What size punny do I want to use? 7, no, what's this one? These are all 5s. I want like, well, oh, thanks. I couldn't see it, it's clear. It's hard to see clear. So I'm always kind of like, where should I put the punny? Should I put it here? Should I put it here? I don't know. It's like a lot of things fall off the punnies on me. So I think I'm just going to attach it to right here. No, right here. And then do a full connection, not a cold seal. Hopefully this will stay long enough. Move, fine. This toe is going to get cold the quickest, so you have to heat this part up a lot. All right, you still have to keep this whole thing hot. Well, I guess you don't, but I feel more comfortable doing that. And technically our hinge joints, or 2 attachments here, shouldn't take too long, I hope. So I'm going to remove some of this. let's take, Ellie, can you take out this one so we can have a look at it to see how it's going to work together? Okay, so it's kind of like a, I turn it around. It's like a U shape in front, or I can, yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is ream this out first. Heat up my big toe. And then cut some of this off. Okay, heat your big toe up. And this isn't just for a foot, like you can put these hinges on whatever you want. Whatever you need to, you know, make kinetic, it's probably possible to do. I probably could have used a bigger punny, but it's fine. Okay, so see our shape here? It's got it's an L shape. And then I'm going to go like this. Remember, there's two circles that are going right in there. And then I'm heating this up. And then I am ready whenever you are. Perfect. We only need two. I'll heat this up again. Stick that on like that. Okay. Oops, there we go. Heat up your foot again. Remember, I will probably go back and resculpt this. It's just going to be a little bit weird because it's not on a blow tube. But I've gotten most of my sculpting done. I don't think I really need a lot of back pressure at this point. So it should be okay. And then I'm going to seal in this one side of my hinge. So this has to be sealed perfectly. Like all of your seals in Boro have to be perfect. Seals, I think, are one of the hardest things to do. Or, well, yeah, seems like. I feel like it just doesn't seem like you have to, like, seal it that much. but you do. It has to be a perfect flow. Like the glass is now one piece. It was two pieces and now it's one. Don't forget to heat it up. And then I said before, I like sculpting hollow because if something cools off and then I flash it again and it cracks, it's just easier to fix hollow. And sometimes you have to fix a lot of stuff. And then other times it just flows smoothly. So this is probably one of those times where if you had a mini torch, you would want to use it, but not me. I don't want it to be that easy. I think I got it. It's probably good. Careful. This is hot, Bundy. I know. When I was putting it in there, I was like, that's gonna be hot later on. But whatever, it's fine. Okay, so we got those on. You understand what's going on now? Remember our hinge, there's a pin that goes through here. We're gonna have another ring on the other side of from our ankle attached to here, and then it's gonna bend like this. Okay, heat it up, heat it up, heat it up. I mean, you could probably do this, make your sculpture, put it on the penny, put it in the kiln, take it back out when it's, after you've had a coffee or something, and then attach these without having to heat up the whole thing, okay? I don't want to do it that way. I like doing everything in one shot. So that means you have to just keep it hot. Now, which side am I attaching? This side. And like I said, these are like, hinge, it's like a door hinge, basically. Like you've seen all of these things before, just in your regular mundane life, like a door, a cabinet, There's just like joints and hinges on basically everything, So it's not like a super special thing. It's just like, it looks special because we've done this cool stuff with it. But technically, like, don't make it overcomplicated. It's like it doesn't have to be that complicated. These are simple ideas and simple mechanical joints. So you can do it. It's not going to be difficult. Or it'll be a little bit difficult, but it'll be worth it. And then make sure when you added frit to that you heat up the inside of your ring so that it doesn't obstruct the movement of your pin. This is in the way. Oh, that was my that thing. Again, this is where a mini torch would come in handy. I just like the center fire of my Carlisle. I just think it's really hot and it just gets the job done. I like the Carlisle, okay. I don't know why. I was using a mini torch for a little bit and this works for me. There. Okay, so then take your tweezers or whatever tool you want to use. Straighten this out. Put a little bit more. One last spot to seal. Uh-oh, what was that? I cracked. That's why you have to keep it hot, okay? It wasn't a bad one, but it is right in the middle. It's another thing I like about sculpting. It's unpredictable. And then when you fix it, you're like, ah, what an accomplishment. So that wasn't so bad. That was easy. So remember when you're fixing stuff and you know you're gonna have to do that at some point. Use a big bushy annealing flame or reducing flame, and then let it all warm up. Get your piece all nice and hot. Sometimes that flame alone will fix it. Will fix it. Other times you have to dial your flame in and shoot it. Get in there really hard with a nice hot flame and seal that crack shut. But certain things will just go back together. Other ones will give you a scar. Sometimes it just kind of depends on what flame you're using too. And what glass you're using. But remember, a lot of times it'll be fixable, so you don't have to get upset or be scared or like rush and put it back in the kiln. Like I just went straight into fixing it, And that's what I do most of the time, unless it's like really bad and But then at that point, it's like, what do you have to lose? Just fix it try to fix it anyway. You either have a broken piece, or you have a broken piece that you tried to fix later. But at least you tried to fix it, because chances are you might be able to fix it. Okay, so our hinges, one side of our hinge is on. Okay, and I don't think we have enough time for the rest of it, but we'll end up using a pin like this. Another ring will go in between these, and then we'll attach them by a pin, and it'll move like this, okay? Everybody get it? Fun? Exciting? Good. There we go. Cut.